Hey everyone, I'm Chris from Champion Helmets, and this is our review of the Shark Spartan and the Shark Spartan Carbon. So you guys probably have figured out by now that we're looking at more than just the Shark Spartan or the Shark Spartan Carbon. We're doing both, and that's because there's not a whole lot between them, but I will do a much better job of explaining that a little bit later on. So I will focus on the Shark Spartan Carbon though, mainly because I kind of prefer the design myself. Now, these helmets are going to be very versatile, full face, mid of the range helmets, sports touring as well. And they're so mid of the range actually that the original Spartan is going to cost about $370 US recommended retail price. And then the Spartan Carbon is going to cost about $420 US at the recommended retail price. So they sit exactly in the middle there when it comes to pricing. And remember as well that you can find more about these helmets, Shark helmets in general, all kinds of motorcycle gear on our YouTube page. So make sure to subscribe and stay up to date with everything they were doing. So we'll start at the shell where we normally start, but also because it's the only difference between these two helmets. So the Shark Spartan is made out of fiberglass, which is this one here, and then the Shark Spartan Carbon is made out of carbon fiber. It's pretty self-explanatory. And so this is going to have a difference in terms of weight and also the strength of the shell. Now we did weigh both of these helmets, and the original Shark Spartan, the fiberglass one, came in at 1.55 kilos, and then the Spartan Carbon came in at 1.45 kilos. So we had 100 grams worth of difference there, and that's not a whole lot. It's a little bit disappointing, I have to say, seeing it is a carbon fiber helmet versus a fiberglass. But we also weighed these in the size L, because it's a very common helmet size, but also because you always hear weight quoted in from a small size, and we want to see how it scales up. But yeah, so both sized L. Also, both helmets are also only going to come in 2 different shell sizes. Now, a real strength of the Shark Spartan Carbon was the Sharp Safety Rating Test, and that's because it scored 4 out of 5 stars, which is a very good result. Then the fiberglass version, the Shark Spartan, only scored 3 out of 5 stars. So that is a noticeable difference between these two helmets, and you can see that the Spartan Carbon scored quite poorly in the side impact tests. And it really shows the strength of carbon fiber, particularly over fiberglass in this case, because they have the same aerodynamic shape. It's the same helmet except for the material. And so it's cool to see that the carbon fiber material was actually in this case stronger than the fiberglass, and to have that confirmed by Sharp. So that's about it actually for all the differences between these two helmets. From now on, they're exactly the same, and I'm going to focus, like I promised, on the Spartan Carbon here. So for ventilation, it's a sports touring helmet, so it's going to be fairly good in both positions. You can see by this big scoop here, it's going to be usable in a more upright touring position, but also in a bit of a tuck. It's going to be, I think, most effective in a tuck. And then you can see here on the chin, this little vent here, it's going to be most effective the deeper you are in the tuck. And it's also going to bring air straight up onto the visor via these little vents here. So it's going to bring cool air to the front of your face and also to demist your visor. Both vents also very easy to use, especially with gloves on. No hassle, no problems there. At the back we have 2 wings, and underneath these wings we have 2 air exhausts, so air can escape out the back there. And you'll see as well when I take the liner in a minute how all the channeling helps with the ventilation. So the visor is in the exact same position where we find it on every helmet. It's at the front. Here it is. It's going to be a fairly good visor when it comes down to it. It comes with an auto seal system, which they tell you about here in the mechanism. It's going to help to create a strong seal port against the shell, which is actually fairly airtight, which is exactly what you want. Then it is pinlock lens prepared, and that pinlock lens is in the box. The sad thing is it doesn't have a cracked sitting position. As you can see here, the next detent is this. So I don't call that cracked, I think that's pretty open. So for the tourers out there, it's a bit of a letdown. Then taking the visor off can also be a little bit tricky on your first time. That's because you essentially have to rip it off. You don't have to like pull down on any tabs or anything like that. So you get it all the way open like this. You want to lift out this pin and then just pull it off. So let's do it on this side. Pull that pin out, sorry, and then pull it off. So it can be pretty intimidating at first, especially when you're looking for a little thing to pull down on and then just release. That's not how it works. So to put it back on, same kind of thing. We'll start on this side. Get it into that open position. Then you just push it on and it'll reseat itself with that pin. Same here. See, the pin isn't in yet, but I go like this, and it is. So it's a pretty easy system to use. It's pretty foolproof once you get used to it. So for any of you guys that are riding in sunny weather, sunny countries, anything like that, we do have a drop-down sun visor, which you can see there. And you can see it does drop down quite deep. And I can show you that. It's a good sun visor overall, and it will help you stay safe when it's a bit sunny. My issue with this sun visor though is the slider. You see it's at the back here, and it works fine. It's easy to use, it's easy to find with your gloves on. It's just that you have to get used to it. You know, change is a thing. If you're used to having it on the side or something like that, you know, you have to adapt. It's a small thing and it's a personal thing. So I've covered a lot of other things, and I guess it's time to pull the liner out. And personally, I am not the biggest fan of the way that this liner connects to the rest of the helmet, but the liner itself is pretty comfortable. Obviously, removable. So let's just pull this out. There's a bit of Velcro. There's no emergency quick release, so you can't just quickly and easily rip it out. You've got to feed everything through. Should probably undo the double D-ring first. And yes, you can see here, it does come with that double D-ring. So let's just pull that through. Couple snaps, couple clips, I guess you call them. And then we'll pull it out from the back. So when you put this back in, I find it works best to go this side in first and then get the back one in. Same on this one here. Velcro, couple clips, and then we'll just pull this through. Cool. So pull it out first from the back, unhook this one, unhook this one, there we go, eventually. Then this comes off like that, and then there's at the back here a couple more clips. Put the sun visor up, snaps up top for the headliner, so obviously there's easier liners to remove, but overall it's not the biggest complaint I have. It's workable. Putting it back in is a little bit of a pain though, so I highly don't recommend that. If you want to wash it often, enjoy it. But you can see it's a very, very thick liner, very, very plush kind of thing. So now the liner is out, let's go on to the inside. And you can see the channels for the EPS, for the ventilation in the EPS actually, and they're not particularly special. You can see they are fairly deep. You can see that we do have the holes there for the ventilation, sorry, for the air to come in through the top scoop. And then at the back as well, we also have holes for the air to come out underneath the wings. So a couple points for ventilation and air to get through the helmet, which is pretty good, what you want. But combine those channels, which are, you know, they're not bad, pretty deep. Combine that with this very thick liner, which is going to give you a lot of room between your head and the EPS, then you get actually pretty deep channels. So it's going to really help your airflow moving around your head. So in combination, they actually work very well for that. Now, it is prepared for the Shark Tooth communication system. You can see the cutouts here on the side, and there's also here you can fit in that battery pack. And my issue with Shark helmets is their glue. Shark needs to get a better glue, if I'm honest. You can see this material here, and it's loose already. So just kind of push that back down. It's not bad, it's nothing that's going to really bother you, but it could be done better. You know, anything that's glued down, I highly recommend that you take a lot of care with it, because it honestly doesn't do the best job. And you see this across a lot of Shark's different helmets in a lot of their different ranges. So hopefully they fix that one day, but just be careful of that. Alright guys, so we have put this helmet through our beep test to figure out how much noise it blocks, how good the noise isolation is. And our beep test is going to see how much noise is blocked by the shell and the liner when it comes to stuff like engine noise, kind of like hard noises. Wind noise is completely different, and I'm going to touch on that in a moment. Now for our beep test, it scored 20 against a control of 17, which is a poor result. It only blocked 3 decibels of sound. So it can do it much better out there. There are better helmets that have scored much better on our test. But when it comes to noise isolation and wind isolation, it's going to be much better. So it has the auto seal visor system, which really helps there. And then the ventilation also seals up pretty nicely. So when it comes to wind noise, it is much stronger. But when it comes to rider reviews and kind of like what other guys have said about it, people with the helmet, it's going to be either very good, very bad. So there's not a whole lot of consensus exactly on how this helmet feels. So based on the poor beep test results, the good wind isolation results, and then the mixed reviews, then I'm going to have to say it's going to be about average in terms of noise isolation. If you want to pick up the Shark Spartan or the Spartan Carbon, make sure that you check out Champion Helmets and the product bundles. So you can choose a free visor of your choice or get a big discount on the Shark Tooth communication system. You can do that by following the link in the description. Alright guys, this has been our review of the Shark Spartan and Shark Spartan Carbon. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you now know a little bit more about these two full-face, mid-of-the-range sports touring helmets. So as well, if you want to learn anything more about these helmets, anything more about Shark, anything like that, make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and that way you can stay up to date with everything that's going on in the world of motorcycle gear. So thanks for watching guys, I'm Chris from Champion Helmets, and I'll see you all next time.